Greetings, my name is Belle. Welcome to this really cool divination time using some oracle cards. I've got 3 different groups of oracle cards because I've really been admiring when people do the multiple messages per video, and I wanted to try it myself, so I'm really happy to share this general reading with you. The first group of cards is represented by Amethyst. The second group of cards is represented by Rose Quartz. And the third group of cards is represented by Tiger's Eye. So take a moment to tune in and see which group of cards you feel like the messages would be right for you, and using kind of that subtle energy to kind of tune in and figure out, or rather like use your intuition to kind of be drawn to a certain set of messages. So we're just going to jump in. I took some notes and I drew the cards already. Let's jump into the Amethyst group of messages. The very first card is Inner Temple, and it says Devotion, tune in to the portal of your heart. These are cards for the first part from Work Your Light Oracle, and we'll also be using cards from Gateway Oracle and Saints and Mystics. So it's going to be really fun. So here we go with Inner Temple. Okay, I feel like this Inner Temple is about being called to step through a doorway. You see there's that doorway there. Being called to step through a doorway and get in touch with your multidimensional self. I've read different things about people who talk about the multidimensional self. I don't think I've experienced it too much. No, not too much, but people say that in different dimensions we have parallel lives, since time is not just linear, even though we experience time as linear here. So there's like all these different timelines or parallel ideas, and some people say we have part of ourself on each dimension too. So for instance, if you decided to tune in to like the 5th dimension or the 7th dimension, there'd already be an aspect of yourself there. Kind of like, I think, the idea of your higher self. So I feel like this card for you is asking you to take the next step to connect with your multidimensional self. And you notice there's also this sense of the heart center. If you see right there on the figures, there's the heart center. So there's that emphasis of tuning in with your heart, listening to your heart messages, instead of only thinking about things, having that feeling sense of everything. And along these lines of having a feeling sense, I'm getting the sense with this card that you are maybe getting the nudge to tune in with subtle energy. And like I'm getting a sense of like the hand chakras with this. I'm not sure if you're drawn recently to Reiki or another form of hands-on energy healing. This card is saying, take the next step. Go ahead and follow your intuition, or follow that little feeling like, oh, I want to do more with subtle energy healing. And also, the message that came through for this card is about with your feelings, noticing how you feel with your aura and how you feel with your aura and chakras throughout the day. Like sometimes, you might feel a little something in your crown chakra, or you might feel your solar plexus. So it's really interesting to see what subtle energy messages or signals you can get throughout the day. So this is, I guess, the Inner Temple. I'm kind of going along the lines with both your experience and also your feelings and the sensations you get in your chakras or throughout your body. Okay, so that was the first card. The second card is Soul Family, and this is still for Amethyst because there are 5 cards per group, so this is still Amethyst. The second card is Soul Family. This is a great card. This has come up before on Instagram, actually. Soul Family. It says, call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. It's a really good message. I know sometimes people feel isolated. That's a horrible feeling, to feel isolated. So it's a really good message to have a soul family. So when I tuned in about this card, I got the idea that you'll be meeting a lot of cool people in the next 6 months to a year. And it's going to be this natural flow of social events and different places to meet people. And it's going to be, of course, heartwarming. It's going to be a lot of fun. And through meeting these different people who are a part of your soul family, you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to get a lot of positive confirmation about your spiritual path, because you'll hear about other people's stories and other people's experiences and kind of compare notes. The other thing I noticed about this card is you see the whales right there. So to me, the whales, since they go so far in the ocean, so deep down the ocean, the whales are a metaphor or a symbol of the subconscious realm to me. And so I feel like you're going to be experiencing some deep knowledge and wisdom. It's going to come through your dreams and meditations, because you'll be tapping into that subconscious realm sense of things. And you might get some symbols or some dream type ideas that will help you. You know, you could even say it might help you connect with your soul family if you get some kind of idea in a meditation or a dream. That's interesting. I didn't write that down, but I think that goes hand in hand in this card. So that's cool. These are the two first cards from Work Your Light Oracle. And now let's head to still Amethyst, but messages from Gateway Oracle. Okay, the first card is Soaring Into Joy. And it says, childlike wonder fills my life. So the message that goes along with this card is, of course, this optimism, this uplifted sense of your spirit. And it's a reminder of what originally inspired you in life. And it's also a reminder to think about those fun gifts, the things you enjoyed when you were a kid, and maybe you haven't returned to those gifts in a while. So, you know, for me, it was reading and writing. I really loved reading. I wanted to be a writer when I was growing up. So what would that be for you? Something you may have set aside for a while. And we have another message coming through from the next card. This card is about listening with your heart. And let's see. One second, I'm turning the page real quick. Okay. Listening with your heart. I wrote down, it's not wimpy to be heart-centered. Okay, so it's like sometimes maybe we get a little cynical and we're like, oh, the heart. But, you know, I feel like you're already being really loving and compassionate. So just keep having an open heart and be loving and compassionate as you already are. And it's going to guide you in really cool ways in your life. For instance, soaring into joy, meeting your soul family. It's going to serve you really well to keep listening with your heart. And with this heart-centered sense of life, I feel like you're going to be building your spiritual path, confidence and knowledge. Oh, damn it. I'm reading the part. Oh. Okay, the last card for Amethyst group, the fifth card for Amethyst, is a Saints and Mystics figure. You got Helena Blavatsky. I don't think it's actually based on what they look like. I think it's kind of like a figure, kind of like the idea of the artist. But you got Helena Blavatsky, and it says initiations under it. When I think about Helena Blavatsky, I think about spiritual confidence, a huge amount of spiritual knowledge, very strong personality, a lot of leadership qualities, great intuitive skills, and also pushing boundaries. So I feel like when this card comes up, it's saying all of those things to you. Just have that confidence about what you know about life. Have those leadership qualities coming to the surface. You already have the leadership qualities, but you know, so many times we take a step back when we don't need to. And really pushing boundaries, that's going to be interesting, right? It's going to be like, you know, leading the way in this alternative way or this way that is right for you that will really benefit your community, but it might be a little different than what people have done before. So it's almost like a rebellious streak with Helena Blavatsky, because obviously I don't think she listened to anyone in terms of our realm. I know she was in touch with different ascended masters, but I feel like she didn't let anyone tell her what to do in our realm or whatever. You know, she was like, had her own ideas and had a lot of leadership qualities. So it's that rebellious streak that's going to allow you to push boundaries in the right ways. Okay, so that was the first group. Those are the 5 cards for Amethyst. Now let's move on to the second group, which is the Rose Quartz group. The very first card is something I had to look up. The very first card is titled Ramah, which apparently is a Celtic term, and I looked it up in the book. It means journey of the soul, and it also is a journey of the soul that might not be as clear to the mind, according to the booklet that goes with this. Okay, so when and it says, where are you being called to journey to underneath? When I think about this card and I tune into it, I notice all of the water imagery pictured. And of course, like, I associate that with emotions, an emotional journey. And so it seems like on this soul journey, your emotions are going to be one of your guides. You see that there are like ruins on the top of the image, and then on the sides too. There's these different ruins. I feel like this is something that signifies salvaging from the ruins of your past, so that maybe there's some type of lesson or a little something, not to dwell on the past, not to go back to the past that much. Maybe there's a couple things from the past you can salvage in terms of learning something. I also got the message to write down that there's something that's time sensitive on this soul path for you. Something about your incarnation in this lifetime that is very meaningful. It's like there's a reason that you lined up things in your life the way you did to a certain extent. And I'm saying that because I think it's like a message from my higher self or something, because I personally don't usually believe things like that. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, that's the message I got, that it's about something lining up, and it's because there's something very meaningful in this incarnation for you in your current one. So it's very soulful. I think you can kind of get the sense of that from this card. Then I also noticed some third eye and chakra and crown chakra feelings. So it's interesting. Okay, so the soul journey in the booklet, it says it's clear to the soul, but it's something that can't necessarily be perceived by the mind. But then with the third eye and crown chakra feelings that I got, that's about consciously envisioning what you want for your life and what you want to receive in your life. So I felt like that's an interesting balance that this card could be showing. There's the balance between letting yourself be guided by something you don't completely understand, and that's balanced out by having your third eye and activated and having that vision for your life that you consciously are choosing. So I don't think these things contradict totally. I think you can have a balance and let the soul and the conscious choice. I know they say that in a lot of books, right? New Age books about conscious choice. I'll have to write down what that's from now. I think it's from something about the Pleiadians or the Arcturians. They keep talking about conscious choice. So it goes hand in hand. So I don't know. It's a little bit almost a contradiction, right? So let's go on to the next card. See what the next card tells us about. The next card is called Keepers of the Earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. So the first message for this card is that there are helpful spirits and guides assisting you on your path. And these guides and spirits are seen and unseen. I got a sense with this card that you are at a crossroads of a few different perspectives. So your current perspective is broadening, but it's still a crossroads because you're perhaps having to let go of perspectives that you've had in the past in order to move forward with your broader perspective. And then I got a sense of the right-hand side, which represents the intellect. And I feel like the intellect is like along for this wild ride because, there's going to be this guidance, seen and unseen, and you're broadening your perspective. So the intellect is going to kind of try to grasp for straws or just kind of like hold on perhaps to something that you don't need anymore. The other thing I noticed with this card is these animals there. So the first one, I think I noticed there's these cougars, like this symmetrical, and there's cougars, some type of mountain cat or mountain lion. So I think this represents fierce determination and strength. That's something you can cultivate and something you have that you're going to call on. And then the elephants there, if you can see them, there's elephants right there. And to me, elephants symbolize memory and emotion. And then there's the eagle. If you can see it, there's a kind of a faint eagle there at the top. And I feel like for some reason the eagle is coming across as very even-tempered, very balanced perspective. And it's because of that soaring heights of vision, that perspective gives the eagle, or gives you, for example, this ability to have a balanced vision because you get this really great panorama. Okay, so those are the first two cards. Really soulful. A lot of kind of like soulful messages coming across with the Work Your Light Oracle. Okay, so the next card, still for Rose Quartz, is Starting Fresh. A wonderful new beginning is blossoming in my life. Okay, so obviously let's focus on new beginnings. With the new beginnings idea, I got the sense of the issue or the topic of house and home and your sense of rootedness. And along with that, I don't know if it's just because it's Thanksgiving or something coming up, but I got the sense of home and this like delicious food and these home-based traditions. So with new beginnings, I feel like you're going to want to be creating new traditions for yourself and your family and your home. And it's going to be traditions that are very meaningful to you. And you're not going to just stick with the same old thing if it's not meaningful. You're going to create these new traditions. So that's how the home life and the new beginnings go together. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be this sense of coziness and reestablishing what that means to you. This is a nice card. This is very cheerful. Next we have Awakening Ancient Wisdom. Deep inner knowing is emerging within me. So of course, like the prominent image in this is that goblet or that cup in the center. With that topic of awakening ancient wisdom, there's this sense of like this huge mystery, kind of like the maybe like a Celtic tradition or any tradition that has that sense of a deep well of life, that ability to tune in to what I like to call sometimes this cosmic infinite. So I think of, if you think of our lives as the microcosm, to me the macrocosm would be this consciousness that is infinite, that some people would call God, and I just like to say divine infinite a lot of times. So I feel like with this awakening ancient wisdom, you're going to be having more and more of a deep connection with the sense of the infinite in life. And you're going to gain a lot of insights and knowledge from that connection. And along with that, the actual symbol of the goblet, to me, could represent this idea of the cup of life. And that would be a sense of renewal and healing and feeling revitalized. Interestingly, with this card, as I was thinking and like intuiting more about it, I was thinking you might be drawn to learn some type of new language because it's about ancient wisdom. So there's this topic of like new beginnings in the other card, and this could be a new language that really draws you in. It can be a language that has symbols and ideas that are really appealing to you. Maybe you see a symbol or see a word that you've never seen before, and you look it up and you're just like really touched by what is held within that language that you are now drawn to learning. People study runes or get channels of light language. And there's also this idea or this sense of Archangel Metatron, and he brings in sacred geometry. So I feel like with the first two cards and with this card as well, I feel like it's just going to be, your spiritual path is just going to be getting more and more interesting and wild, and you're just going to have this fascinating time. And like, it's very positive, it's going forward on your spiritual path. It's awesome. I have this sense of a lot of angelic energy coming in for you. It's very peaceful, very loving. And there's even an angelic message that came through with this card for you. The message from the angels is, make peace with the unknown of life and how you relate to the sense of the unknown. Because I know having that sense of the unknown can be really difficult for people. I know it's difficult for me. I want to stick with my old habits a lot of the times because it feels more comfortable. But in that positive sense of angelic energy and going forward on your spiritual path, it's going to be really great to make peace with that sense of not knowing some things yet and stepping into the unknown in a positive way. Okay, so those cards are amazing. And then for the last card, it's kind of interesting. It's a totally different energy for the last card for Rose Quartz. Saint Expedite, immediacy. This is kind of like a very tension-producing energy with this card. So I think this just shows that there might be a little bit of something stressful, some tension, some sense of urgency coming up. But I think it's something reassuring at the same time because it could be something that demands your attention. But you've got this strength and determination to handle it, and you will get through to the other side of this. It's going to work out. It's going to be okay, and it might be a little bit stress-producing because maybe it's something you have to take care of right away. And then on the other hand, if there's no specific stress for you, I think another way this card's energy could be channeled is just a sense of ambition and determination. So you don't necessarily have to apply this to an actual urgent situation. You can use that energy to fuel your determination and ambition. Okay, so those are all the cards and the messages for Rose Quartz. And now let's move on to the third group of cards represented by Tiger's Eye. The first card from Tiger's Eye is a card, it's kind of like the Tower card in the tarot. It's called the Crumbling. And it says, what are you clinging on to? So the Crumbling card, there's something that's no longer serving you, that you're having a lot of trouble letting go of, which is completely understandable. But at the same time, I think you'll know what this is for you in your individual situation. It's time to release the things that are no longer working for you. And there's possibly something that you've been needing to let go of. And this card is just a reminder that you will feel better in the long run if you choose to go ahead and let go of this issue or whatever it is that you've been hanging on to for a little bit too long. And it's hard for everyone to let go of things, I think. But you will eventually feel a lot better if you go ahead and take the time to do that. And the next card is don't dim to fit in. So it's saying don't dim your light. Don't try to fit in. And the message under that is, how are you dimming your light in order to fit in? So this is about confidence and individuality. And I wrote down to stop gazing at this cookie cutter lifestyle. I know like we get a lot of images in magazines or online, and we feel like we have to have this perfect house or, you know, a certain sense of decor or dressing a certain way. So this card is a reminder to have your own sense of individuality, to actually feel really confident about that, and and with that confidence, really enjoy everything that you bring to the table that's unique. And along the lines of shying away from a cookie cutter lifestyle, this card is saying there's a lot of opportunities now to just like really luxuriate in the way that you enjoy living and not have any sense of guilt or no sheepishness about what you enjoy. Like, what are your favorite interests? You don't have to be embarrassed about like what you are really passionate about. You know, it's time to be confident about all of those things. Along those lines, this is a hard one for me. It's okay to not totally mesh with like everyone. I know it's, for some reason it's hard sometimes to acknowledge that we get along with some people better than others, or, you know, we're never going to see eye to eye with certain people. So I think this card is saying that you will meet the people who respect your authentic self and support you in your individuality, and those are the people you really want to connect with and enjoy spending time with. And then I wrote down also that this pink, I think this lady's wearing like a pink coat or like a really pink garment. To me, that represents love and compassion and this youthful idealism that can be, you know, used in a lot of different directions. But in this case, really that ideal you have about who you want to be. Okay, so now let's move on to the next two cards for Tiger's Eye still. And we want to look at the cards from Gateway Oracle. The first card for you is Cherishing Self. It's so cute. Self-love. I accept and love myself. So cool. So we just had the card about not dimming your light. So this like totally goes with that. So a lot of these cards for you are about letting go of the past and really having a sense of who you are and appreciating yourself. Sometimes it's hard to have that sense of acceptance, but it's kind of time to just like sit there and be like, whoa, okay, I really accept myself. I'm really interested in how I do things and what feels comfortable for me. And again, that idea of with the feeling comfortable with yourself, I think a greater sense of confidence actually comes with that, because you're not trying to placate anyone, or I don't know, like how this would come across for me is that if I try to jump around, like not being confident with my opinions or not saying things in the way I want to because I'm trying to be a people pleaser too much. That's how it would come out in my life. So how does this come out in your life? Like, how do you want to feel more comfortable and confident? Oh, the message that came through, I think this is like an angelic message or a higher self message. It says, you are a very valuable person and you have a valuable perspective. And with this valuable perspective and who you are as a valuable person, you make the universe and you make life a really rich place just by being yourself in this really cool life. So the message is that your individuality is needed in this world. So it's not something to just push to the side. Actually, I saw a really great YouTube video about this recently that was about how this woman was appreciating her sense of art and how she always made these art projects and she always kind of downplayed it, but now she wants to kind of be more confident and comfortable with just saying that she's an artist. So how would that come out for you? Like, what are the things that you're passionate about that you would just really accept with open arms now? I wrote down a lot for this card. Let's keep going with these messages, right? Okay, so along the lines of angels, I get this sense of angelic protection and support. as you're stepping into more confidence. Oh, I know what I did. It's the second card. Okay, I can't read my own notes, right? Okay, receiving from angels. Yeah, I can't even read my own handwriting. That's okay. Receiving from angels, shimmering wings of angels, embrace me with love. So this card is about angelic protection, angelic support. Okay, so interestingly with this card, I kept getting these different intuitive senses in my body. So the first intuitive sense I got was of my legs. And I feel like that symbolizes walking away from things that aren't useful to you and walking towards the beautiful aspects of life that are what you really want in your life. And that almost kind of goes back to the tower type card that you had at the beginning. So after that, I got a sense of my shoulders, which to me represents kind of like letting your shoulders down, releasing your burdens, releasing that tension, of course, and also releasing your burdens that you might metaphorically carry on your shoulders. And the message with that is to let the angels carry your worries for you. So that's a way of thinking about releasing your worries, because you can say, there's something you really can't do anything about. You know, you've taken all the steps you needed to, but it's something that's really on your mind still. The angels are saying that you can just release your worries to them and, like, you know, pray for that issue, pray for the highest good of yourself and your family and the highest good of everyone. And I think when I was thinking about that, I just felt this sigh of relief, and you can just feel that tension drop off your shoulders because you don't need to carry everything. You know, you can do what's on your task list at that time, but there's nothing else you can do other than that. So it's that opportunity to let go of worry and feel that angelic energy coming in. And then you can see this in the card with the embrace of the angel wings. And I kind of got this sense of it intuitively too. This angelic embrace is about tuning into the things that nourish you. You're going to have this sense of what nourishes your soul. And this message is coming through from the angels for you too, to feel that sense of love and keep reminding yourself how much you're always loved by, like, the angels and the divine and just different people who you talk to every day or people you don't even talk to every day who really love you. And interestingly, I don't know if you feel this, but this is like a lot of cool energy coming in right now, like kind of like right here. So, whoa, okay, that's a really good message for you. It's a good message for everyone, right? You're always loved, so just keep reminding yourself of that if you need to. And it goes well with releasing your worries also, I think. Okay, the last card for the third group, the last card for Tiger's Eye, is, interestingly, Florence Scovel Shin. I haven't read her books yet. I'm really excited to read them at some point. I know she's inspired some different current authors who write about spiritual things. I feel like she's associated with positive thinking and manifestation, if I'm correct about that. I got this really cool energy from this card. I guess from the idea of her and from this card. It's this very graceful, gentle energy coming in. And it's this way of living and approaching life that is very, like, delicate and elegant and graceful and gentle. It's so funny because I got that energy and then I looked at the card again, and what is there but there are these little white feathers, right? This, like, lightness, like I don't know, it's very, very, I keep writing down very gentle. So it's this kind of delicate way of approaching life. And I also thought about, in this card, you can see this window behind her. So I feel like that represents divine light, and that divine light that goes along with a higher sense of guidance. And that kind of ties into the previous card with all the angelic messages, right? And the message from Florence is, be open to receiving the gifts that life wants to give you. So this very gentle energy. And then be open to receive the gifts that life wants to give you. So it's about living life in a different way. Instead of just having to feel like you have to race towards something, it's about feeling more relaxed. And I don't know, I hope you can get a sense of that energy somehow. This is going to inspire us to read some of her writing, I think. But, I don't know, just this very cool way of living. And it's almost like if you tie it into the very first card you had for Tiger's Eye group, if something's over, something you have to release, there's something really cool that's going to come in with all the angel energy and with this very gentle way of living, and about having open arms to receive all these beautiful things that you've been wanting, and that life really has really good things in store for you. Okay, I'm so excited to share these 3 groups of messages with you. I hope you enjoyed listening to your set of messages, and I will see you next time. Thank you.